Ever get that feeling? Like history's quick to slap on the magician label, kind of like a catch-all for anyone a little too eccentric.
Right. A bit of a disservice, isn't it? Reduces these figures to just their more out there pursuits.
Exactly. And that's why we're diving deep into the world of John Dee, a guy who was so much more than just a Merlin-type figure.
Oh, absolutely. A fascinating character.
We're talking scholar, advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, and yeah, we'll get to the occult side too because, well, it's John Dee.
Yet ignore that. But get ready for some surprises along the way because his story really challenges those easy labels.
It really does. So to set the stage a bit, John Dee, born in 1527, this guy was the definition of a Renaissance polymath.
Truly. What's captivating about Dee is that he embodies a time when the lines between science and magic were incredibly fluid, not so rigidly defined like they are now.
Right, like those Venn diagrams completely overlapped back then.
Precisely. And Dee's expertise, let's say it spanned mathematics, astronomy, geography, alchemy, you name it, he probably studied it.
Seriously, it's like he collected areas of study the way some people collect stamps. This wasn't just a hobby for him either. We're talking advising royalty on top of all that.
Absolutely. This wasn't some reclusive scholar squirreled away in an ivory tower. Dee was directly involved in the affairs of his time, consulting with Queen Elizabeth I on matters of navigation, calendar reform, even her enemies.
Speaking of his legendary library, I mean, this thing was supposed to be one of the largest in England at the time. Gives you a sense of,
The sheer breadth of his interests.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And this wasn't just for show either. It was a working library, reflecting a mind eager to devour knowledge from any source.
Which, this is where it gets really interesting. Brings us to the part that always raises eyebrows. Dee's angelic science and the Enochian language.
Right, the stuff that tends to overshadow everything else.
Yeah, and look, before anyone thinks we've taken a hard turn into Fantasyland here, let's add some context.
Absolutely crucial. It's easy to judge based on our modern perspective, but during Dee's time, alchemy and attempts to communicate with angels weren't viewed as some wacky fringe beliefs.
It wasn't like joining a conspiracy theory forum or anything.
Not at all. These were considered legitimate avenues in the pursuit of understanding the universe, attracting some of the best minds of the time.
So, kind of like theoretical physics today, some of the ideas might sound out there to the average person, but they're rooted in a genuine desire to understand the universe on a deeper level.
Precisely. And for Dee, this pursuit led him to develop angelic science, a system he genuinely believed could unlock divine knowledge. Integral to this was the Enochian language.
Okay, so Enochian language, don't break that down for us. It sounds like something out of, well, fantasy.
Right, so Dee believed this was an actual angelic language, a language spoken by angels
Yeah.
that could be used to communicate with celestial beings. He even collaborated with Edward Kelly, a medium who claimed he could use a crystal to, well, to have these conversations with angels.
Wow, talk about pushing the boundaries. And this wasn't just theoretical for Dee, was it? I mean, this fascination with angelic science really manifested in his work, like the Monas Hieroglyphica.
Oh, absolutely. This incredibly intricate symbol. It wasn't just some magical doodle Dee came up with. He believed it held the key to universal mysteries.
Like a mathematical blueprint of the cosmos.
Exactly. And this is what's so fascinating about Dee, that constant interplay between what we might now call science and mysticism. He even wrote a mathematical preface to Euclid's work, which,
Wait, Euclid, as in the geometry guy.
the one and only.
Yeah.
And Dee's preface wasn't just a scholarly addendum. It highlighted his deep respect for mathematics and his conviction that mathematical principles underpinned both the physical and spiritual realms.
So it's like he saw math as the secret language of the universe, a way to bridge the gap between what we can observe and those hidden forces at play.
Exactly. And this duality is essential to understanding Dee's legacy. He wasn't just an occultist dabbling in magic for the fun of it. He was a product of a time when the lines between science and mysticism were blurred, and his work reflects that.
So you've got these contributions to, say, navigation instruments that directly impacted England's naval explorations. And then right alongside that, you have the Enochian language, which continues to intrigue occultists even today. It's quite a range.
It really is. So the question remains, was John Dee a visionary ahead of his time, whose ideas were simply misunderstood? Or was he a man seduced by the allure of the unknown, ultimately losing his way?
We'll leave you with that thought to ponder.